Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to show you how to set up the preferences with inside Promob. When you first start, you're going to find things like maybe some of the English won't all be in English, you might be getting some Portuguese or Spanish. The reason being the program will automatically detect what your language is set up on your computer and it'll pull that information in. We want to change that to just English, not auto English, and then there's a few other settings that we need to do before we get started so that the program will be running correctly and easier for you. So the thing to do is to come up to the top over here, not new design, not import. We want to go to preferences. We're just going to click on the preferences button, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up to general, and where it says, I'm just going to click on this so you can see them all, where it says language, we want this to be English. Depending on what you've got, you're probably going to have auto English or auto, like I've got US, because it's dependent on what your keyboard is set up as. So what you're going to want is you want to say English. That means everything will become English. You won't have any problems in that regard. Further down, these things you don't need to really change. You can set up your default printer if you want to, and further down in your autosaves you can set the timing of your autosaves. I've got mine every 15 minutes. You can make it every 30 minutes, every 10 minutes, whatever you want. The next thing is environment. This is very important. So we have a background color for when we go into our 3D mode, and then the next one down, shade mode. This is very important. When you start Promob, you're going to find it's going to be ticked on texture. We don't want texture, we want texture with lines. Make sure that one is ticked. It's going to allow you to be able to see the project better when you're using white cupboards or white outlines. It'll make the cupboards and everything stand out and make it easier to work with. So select texture with lines. Okay. As we go further down, we're going to have measurements. Under measurements, we're going to have a range of different types of measurements that you can work with. If you're not sending it to a CNC machine, if you're going to be sending it to a board cutter or yourselves are going to cut it, then pick millimeters round. That's going to round it up and down so that you're not going to get multiple letters after the dot, after the decimal point. Otherwise you're going to have, for instance, maybe a door size of 475.345, something like that. If you set it to round, it's just going to make it 475, which is really what you want to use. The only time you will need to change that is if you're using a smaller size or a thinner size edging. So if you're using a 0.5 or a 0.75 edging, then you will have to make it millimeters, because otherwise it's going to round it up or down depending on what you've got. So when you're setting up edging, if it's set up as round, you would have to make it a 1 millimeter edge for it to understand that it's going to be a 1 millimeter edge. So on average, most of the time, you're going to leave that set as millimeter round. Internet, we don't need to use. Listing, we don't need to change anything there, unless you're going to want to put in your logo. So you can click on here and you can import a logo, so that whenever you're doing your designs and things, your logo will appear on your quotations and things like that. So you can set up a logo in there. And then printer, if you click on print, basically we've already set that up here as your defined printer. Okay. Once you've done that and you've preset all those up, go now to OK. It takes a few seconds and it will update your system, and you'll be able to then run from that. It's updated. I can close that now, and the system will have updated and everything will start becoming English. I hope this little video has helped. It is just a short one. It's just to show you how to do your preferences. Thank you very much.